Sup, guys? It's Corrupted
And it's Drake.
with Ramen for the Soul.
Back again.
Yep. Now, do need to do a little house cleaning this morning. Uh, Next week there will not be an episode. Um, we're just gonna continue with part 26, or not 26. This is 26. Part 27 on the 7th. No, not the 7th. The 10th. Right? Yeah. On the 10th. And it's going to be episode 701 to 725. We're not going to do a double episode like we normally do whenever we have to skip a day. But just because we got some work stuff that we got to do that next weekend. But then we'll be back into it like normal on the next week. But just letting y'all know now, in case anyone's like, where the hell are y'all? We just have some work stuff to take care of next week. But yeah, today we're back in Dressrosa, and we got 2 more weeks of Dressrosa. So hope y'all like Dressrosa.
I think it's this one and just one more.
Now, I got, what's it called? Zoe starts at I think 7:46.
Yeah, well, like actual Dressrosa, like we got like 2 weeks of probably Dressrosa saga, but actual
Yeah, I'm just
Dressrosa
thinking of.
we'll probably finish it.
I think we'll finish the fight on. I think it finishes at like 2:40 something, like the Dofi and Luffy fight. Like 2:40 on the dot, I think. I could be wrong though. Let me double check. Oh no, it ends on I think 7:36. It's like right there. Yeah. And then it's into Zoe. But yeah, this week starts off exactly how last week left off. With Usopp getting fucking bodied by
Pretty much.
Treble. Just
Yep.
I do like the plot twist with Treble at the end. I think we're gonna get to it next week.
Yep.
It's really smart. I like that plot twist a lot. But it's hilarious what happens here, because they're just like, haha, we've defeated you. The Tontadas, they said you were a great hero. So here, we're just gonna put this Tabasco. What's it called? It's got a special name that sounds like Tabasco, but it's supposed to be the hottest sauce in the world. And it's just like, here, we're gonna feed this to Usopp because he clearly wanted to poison sugar with it, and they do it, and the amount of pain Usopp's in forces him to make such a weird face that it scares Sugar into passing out for several hours.
You know what's crazy as hell? What one thing that's worth mentioning? Cause one thing that the Ubermensch technically does is go against the norms of society that it's in, along with his crew. And it's so effing funny that if you think about the conventionality, like this was any other pirate crew, the stuff that they were doing would be enough to, like, yeah, they probably would be poisoning her in any other conventional pirate crew. But they're not poisoning her, okay? He was giving her something that was supposed to be so hot that the heat would knock her out. So you talk about just how, like, what's the word? Lucky, or want to say like fortunate, probably be a better word, because lucky just feels like it feels like chance. So just say fortunate that, like, if that was poison, first off, Usopp be dead. Second of all, Usopp just freaking naturally just funny as hell, and he just made his face, and then that end up like doing the same job that he wouldn't need to do anyway. And it's just so crazy when you think about just how they just treated it like the well, it kind of put the icing on the cake with how he'd been treating the Tontadas this whole time, just telling them anything to get them to believe him. So of course they kind of took it there after he already kind of set up his own, made his own bed, kind of. It was pretty funny.
Also, like that he has like a Toon Force style impression or expression, like a face like Luffy makes once he goes Gear 5 for the first time, you know? Like his tongue comes out and like loops around. Well, it doesn't loop, it like curves and makes an S. And then his eyes are all the way out of his head. Almost like almost like Looney Tune esque. Like I know that's just for visual expression, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
And then later on when he mentions it, he's just like, "Oh yes, my fire breathing technique." When once he like recovers full where he
Yeah.
can walk around again, and the Titanas are just like, "Man, Usopp is awesome. He beat Sugar." He's like, "Yes, that was my signature fire breathing scary technique," or some shit. And the Titanas are just like, "Wow, Usopp's a fucking gangster." And it turns out that nah, it was just so hot that he was pissing himself, like legitimately pissing himself.
Yeah.
And it just cracks me up that that's the case, where it's just like, oh shit. But also, I still want to harken back to Senor Pink because it's happening in this
Yep.
like the same chapter. Fuck Senor Pink for the reason I started talking about last week. He's just like, I'm so hard boiled. I'll never take the easy way out in a fight. But his entire fucking fighting style is sneaking up on people and smashing their heads into the ground. Cause like Frankie gets knocked out from his fight with the Navy, right? Like he fights Senior Pink for a minute, and he's arguably winning the Senior Pink fight, and then he has to fight the Navy, and then I think he fights Dillinger too. It's one of them, and they knock him out, and that happened last week. But this week, he wakes up and he's just like, "Yeah, boy, time to fight him again." And then, what's it called? He's about to fucking full ass laser beam and probably destroy the Smile Factory, right? And Senor Pink's just like, "Nuh-uh, bro, sneaky, 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 sneaky." Sneaks up behind him, slams his head into the ground, and then does like the weirdest butterfly guard I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just like, this fucking hypocritical piece of shit keeps saying that I'll never attack a man when he's not paying attention, and that's his entire fucking fighting style.
That's the whole mantra, man.
Yeah, like that's his whole. He's just like, I will never attack somebody that from behind. But that's all he does. He doesn't throw it. He just suplexes people, and he doesn't even suplex them like a traditional wrestler does. He has to sneak up behind them to do it. Like because his entire power is like antithetical to what he says he stands for. And it just proves that all the Doflamingo family people, the Don Quixote family, they're all fucking liars. Right? Like they're all not like I get that they're supposed to be, but like he's gonna try to tell us like Senior Pink, like we're gonna learn Senior Pink's actually a good dude, same with Baby Five. Like the rest of them aren't necessarily bad. It's just those two are complete victims of circumstance when it comes to why they're members of this, right? So it just adds to it that you find out that he's a massive fucking liar. And the entire reason he's a massive fucking liar is because of his backstory. But it still gets on my nerves that he's just like, I will never attack somebody from behind. First thing he does right after he says that is he swims up behind fucking Frankie and then smashes his head into the ground out of nowhere when Frankie didn't even know he was coming. Nobody was listening for him or anything. Frankie's just charging up a laser, and then Cinder Pink does exactly what he promises he won't do the entire fight.
Yeah, that part he's charging up a laser to shoot the factory, and then he just comes up right behind him, and then just no one's even thinking about this. Frankie's just in the air on his neck.
Yeah, and then right after that, he gets him in like a calf scissor. Remember, because all the girlies are like, "No, don't make him stretch anymore. His balls will fall out," which cracks me up.
I remember watching this with Jenna. She was not having a good time during any of this.
Yeah, it just like I just don't get why he's just like, "I'm awesome. I'm hard boiled. I'll never pull any of this freaky
Well, it goes back.
bullshit,"
It
and then
goes back
immediately
to
does it.
literally what you. It goes back to what we were saying last week, bro. Like it was the identity thing. Like you know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff that he was doing with got all the things he went through with Prussian, everything that he was doing at the same time with her, because he was just at the same time trying to be her husband, trying to be with her, live a life with her, while at the same time still being a gangster. That's already an identity crisis. He loved Prussian so much. So when she went down, it's like his whole identity went through the roof. So you see it now. Now what we seeing is the final, what we call the
But
final
remember,
product.
it's not just that's not the only reason he gets fucked up
Yeah, it's
from it.
not the
It's
only reason.
his kid dies directly because of what he did, and then
Yeah,
it broke his wife's heart, and then it basically she has a complete dissociative break, and
yeah,
so like she can't exist as a person anymore because of what happened. Like she's basically she only responds since the kid looked exactly like him. Like his son looked exactly like him. That's why he wears the baby stuff. So it's the only way she'll ever smile. And like it just makes me mad that it's just like, okay, you're gonna give me that good bit of story, but you're gonna make Senor Pink a lying asshole.
it's a big no, it's a big identity crisis. That's all it is. It shows just how deep that identity crisis goes.
I just
For him to say that and do the opposite, that's an identity crisis.
That is true. But I hate hypocrites, so him being a hypocritical bitch pisses me off. Just like
It's all a
I
part of
never
his
attack
character.
somebody from
If he
behind.
was, if he
Exclusively attack.
actually, like, if he actually kept his word and did all that stuff, it actually make you like, it actually be one of those things where it make you bridge the gap between like hating him and liking him, and it's almost like this is the thing, like he got such a good backstory, such a good all this. This is the thing where it bridges you between liking him and hating him, and this is the reason why.
But then you see like there's certain moments where he like goes in with the hard boiled bit and then he immediately stops and it's just like, what the fuck? Like the Frankie's just like, that old lady having trouble over there has been bothering me, so I haven't been able to give you my full attention in the fight. And he's just like, well, if you'll excuse me for a minute, there's something I forgot about. And he goes to try to help the old lady.
Yeah,
Like, moments like that. And then when he fights, he just sneaks up on people. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, immediately when he sneaks up on Frankie, like, he tries to sneak up on Frankie, but Frankie knows he's around. So it doesn't work that time, but it still cracks
yeah.
me the fuck up. This entire fighting style is the opposite of what he claims to be about. It's like it's like all those people that tried to copy Max Holloway after 300. Remember like UFC
With the
301
points in
at
the
the
ground,
yeah, where in the last 10 seconds they'll point at the ground, but they don't leave everything in the cage, so they look like pussies. Like when Max does it, he's just like, we're going to stand here and bang. When Max did it, like every time Max has done it. But everyone else, when they try to copy him, they don't stand and bang, they walk away. But like when Max does it, he just stand and they're just fucking throwing, right? Like the 4 times Max has done it, him and whoever it is just fucking going at each other. But that's what it feels like to me. I don't know if everyone else here is a huge MMA fan and had their heart broken yesterday because Max lost by TKO. So it's on my mind. Sorry, I'm holding back tears after that. Sorry. I was so sad yesterday because Max is like my first or second favorite fighter of all time. Like him and Izzy are like my 2 favorite. So
definitely
I'm heartbroken.
He
was winning the fight before that though. That's what sucks. But that's neither here nor there. That's just the best way I could think of describing the how Senor Pink fights is like everyone that tried to copy Max Holloway and then ran away a couple of seconds later. That's just what it reminds me of. But yeah, that's enough tangent about Senor Pink. We'll talk about him more next week when we like dive heavy into his backstory. Oh, dude, they revealed the first Senor Pink card in the One Piece TCG, and like he's not good in any decks right now, but he's objectively broken because he's the first way in the game. He's the first ever way in the game for the color purple to recycle events, which are like spell cards from like Yu-Gi-Oh or sorceries from Magic. So he's like objectively broken, and it just cracks me up. They announced it yesterday that like we're talking about this, and that's what's happening in the game right now, the card game. Damn, that yawn hurt.
Didn't go to hate him in the show. It's want to be one of those things.
Well, it's not him in a bonnet. It's him before his bonnet. So it's him when he's a gangster. Like in his like purple-ish pink suit and everything. But back to what's actually happening in the story and not talking about Senor Pink being a hypocrite. One thought that occurred to me while I was watching these episodes this week is that because we get a lot more of the backstory with Kairos, because as soon as he unbecomes a toy, he's like, fuck it, fuck Dofi, cuts Dofi's head off. Not real Dofi, obviously, but the clone. But you see, like Kairos' whole thing, why he wasn't that close to it. Like, he was as close as he could be to his daughter, because he's obsessed with the idea, since he murdered someone in cold blood when he was a teenager, that means that he's bad forever, and that he'll taint Rebecca's soul if he touches her, like we see in the flashbacks. Like, he wears gloves.
He used to wear gloves everywhere. Yeah, he used to wear gloves everywhere during like her whole like upcoming.
And the metaphor there is he's afraid of getting the blood on his hands on Rebecca. Like, it's a fantastic fucking metaphor.
You already know his hands are stained with blood of the people he had to murder, so he don't want to stain her with the same blood on his hands. It's almost like he's a killer. It emphasizes how him knowing he's a killer, but doing so much is like not wanting to bring his life and his ways onto her. Which is like, as her father, that's like ultimate. Like, which is great storytelling when you think about all the fathers who are great going forward. You know, when you talk about them,
or father figures.
Father figures.
Like, if we're gonna talk about like Garp with Kobe later and Dragon with Sabo later.
Yeah. But it's a great way to introduce a way to start talking about pivotal fathers.
Yeah, but the big reason I wanted to bring it up is because in my opinion, it shows the entire theme of Dressrosa. Because I've noticed this about Oda, is each arc has a theme, and that theme is like an expanded on version of what one of the characters in that particular arc is going through, but it's like applied to everybody, not just locally on one person. Like at least Enies Lobby is a great example. It's the it's localized on Robin's struggle with living with herself, but it's also like you can expand it to all the Straw Hats and even Rob Lucci to an extent of living with the stuff that they've had to go through and not giving up due to those, like, the things that you may or may not have had to do. Like, it's like a micro problem and a macro problem, you know, or like a micro theme and a macro theme. But it's like the point of Dressrosa is it's like Kairos is trying to work through the exact thing that his country is working through. It's just Dressrosa is a metaphor for overcoming the darkness or perceived darkness inside of you, bringing it to the light, defeating it, and then becoming a better version yourself afterwards.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, because like at the end we see Kairos, like now obviously Kairos is willing to like actually touch his daughter. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't need to wear gloves anymore at the end of the story. But the thing is, we see like when Sabo eats the flame fruit and he does the fire fist in these episodes, he literally exposes the underground where all the dark shit that's happening in Dressrosa is happening, and it leaves like an angelic light shining into the dark hole.
And then, which is crazy because following that event is when they reveal that they're part of the Revolutionary Army, which is symbolism exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and then it also like leads into all the people that turned into toys now worship Usopp as a god because of it, and he just so happens to be held in the light because the light pops up while he's being held up by Haruden. But also another thing that's interesting that probably had to fuck with Kairos infinitely is the leg that got cut off is the leg Rebecca hugs when he says goodbye. Right before he gets turned into a toy and his leg gets cut off.
That is something I never noticed, so hell yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, wait, he's missing his left leg, right? Like when I saw the thing, I was just like, isn't the soldier? Because we talked about the Steadfast 10 soldier story last week. It's just like, he's missing the left leg, right? Like, it was on my mind still. It's just like, wait a second. She just hugged his left leg. That's gotta fuck with this man. So, he lived with 10 years, losing the leg. That was the last time he ever got to touch his daughter. He had to survive 10 years.
Wow.
Because remember, he couldn't feel her when he was a toy. So, like, he seemingly permanently forgot what it felt like to hug his daughter. So how pissed off he is, like they even draw it in the manga in a way that you can just tell like Kairos wants to kill everyone in the room. Like they like frame it and then shade his face in completely. And they do it the exact same way in the manga, you know what I mean? Like the shadow over the face of like a man that's just like, I'm gonna kill everybody. Look.
Mm-hmm.
And he like runs in, cuts the Dofi clone's head off, and then beats the shit out of everybody else in the room. Because you could tell like how much this man is hurting from all this stuff.
No, because definitely by that point, like one thing about the story, like when we get to a point when we get to these climaxes, these part where all the basically shit hit the fan moments, like does a real good job of like bringing all it together where you look at it's like, nah, your anger is justified. Kiro's anger at that point, justified. But what's crazier, which is you see what something that got pointed out the second time I watched, not this watch through, but a watch through I watched last time was actually in the grand scheme of things, like him getting turned into a toy right as his leg getting cut off helped him the most because that wound now is just like a part of him. And he's learned over the years being a toy how to effectively move on one freaking leg.
Yeah, he's faster than Luffy sprinting.
When you talk about that, how fast he can move on one leg of years of being a toy. Oh, this dude is like, if you gave him two legs at this point, bro, I think it might handicap him for like a while. Like real talk.
I think what they should do with him is give him a devil fruit that gives him his leg back. Like if there is gonna be like a final war arc,
or something he could use like
or like Giselle's legs from Kingsman.
I was even thinking something like Aokiji, like how Aokiji made him a new leg with his ice.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be pretty dope. But yeah. Also, he's so angry that he, like, we don't know if it's broken, but he cracks Buffalo's neck by twisting it. And that might not sound impressive until you remember you can't break Buffalo's neck that way. Because remember, he has the rotate fruit or whatever it's called. So he can turn anything in it, so his entire body rotates on whatever pivot it wants. So you can't break his neck that way. But Kairos was just like, fuck you, neck broken. Remember, like, he grabs him in like a headlock, and you just hear, and then Buffalo like spits out blood, and then he throws Buffalo away. And it's just like, wait, what the fuck? Kairos is so mad that he canceled out somebody's devil fruit power.
That's that hockey, boy.
I know, dude. He was just like, I couldn't use hockey as a toy, so I got to use it all now. But it just cracked me up. I was just like, bruh. And then the fucking Rebecca like breaking down bawling when she's just like, I had a father this whole time. I thought my mother just immaculate concepted me. What the fuck? That shit cracks me up. Not that she's like bawling, but like she's just like, I had a dad. I wasn't just born from my mom randomly. Like, yeah. But that's how like everyone has that moment. So, but it just cracks me up. And then the Dragon Claw Fist Breath or whatever it's called.
It's about the Dragon Fist. Dragon Claws, Dragon Breath.
Yeah, that was dope. I just have a soft spot for Sabo because Sabo's my favorite character. So when he does something cool, it's gonna look cooler than other people. But he like shatters the entire thing. Well, it's not just he beats the shit out of Jesus. Showcase. Yeah, it was. That's true.
It's pretty much a showcase. Like, this is where the birth of Sabo coming into the story, him showing off that he's that, which makes sense because like. It was the parallel which you had when Ace came into the story the first time in Alabasta. He showed off a good bit. One of my favorite showcases still, like how he went through those 3 ships with the Fire Fist, flipped over him, went to the other side, caught the So his showcase was a max. Of course, when it was Sabo's time to shine, they didn't let off the gas. They gave us everything and then some more. Like how you said, the Dragon Claws, Dragon Breath, when he broke the whole arena up. Like, this man was not playing with them, like, at all.
There's one thing, though, I really like. Like, we touched on it a little bit last week, but they do a very good job of showing off that Sabo uses it completely differently to Ace. Because Sabo is a martial artist at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Right, like, his fighting style. Right. It's like a combination of Fishman Karate and Dragon's fighting style.
Yeah.
So he's an actual martial artist, so he doesn't just like, because remember Ace like use like fireballs and like massive flamethrower attacks and stuff like that. Like, but Sabo
powerhouse.
Yeah. But Sabo uses it like almost like the Kyuubi mode that Naruto has, like where he like uses it to like basically make a giant fire actual fist, like a stretchy fist. Almost like how Luffy does. Like, you see, like, his fire fist isn't just like a wall of cascading fire. It's an actual fucking hockey fist. Like a hockey-empowered fist that he just swings down. But he uses it like a whip because he's specifically trying to break the bottom of the stadium to open it up. But I just like that. And then he shows off, like, the different things that he does. Like, when he's going to fight Isho later this week, and then when he fights Jesus next week,
and he beats the fuck out of Jesus. This chapter, this go around.
I know, that's why I said this week, and then next week is the Jesus fight, where he beats the dog mess out of Jesus.
I mean, we're in a new week now, technically, so this week.
That's true. I didn't think about that. That's it.
Even then,
that's a good point.
Technically, by that same logic, we wouldn't be doing the episode next week, so it'd be the week after. But nah.
Yeah.
Either way, a lot of technicality.
Yeah, but it's just cool to show that like 2 people could have the same fruit but use it completely differently. Cause Ace does and Ace turns into fire a lot, but you see Sabo doesn't turn into fire hardly at all.
Yeah, one thing that they do with Sabo versus Ace is like they made in Sabo. I mean, Ace's case, they made us kind of know that he was a Logia. Versus in Sabo's case, they don't really like. He does a lot of attack. I mean, he's still a Logia. The way he uses it, and the way he the way he just goes about in his use of it, you'd forget that it's a Logia.
Yeah, he
But
uses it a lot like we're not there yet, but he uses it a lot like how Karakuri uses his fruit. And like Karakuri like tricks
not
everyone
one
into
on
thinking
one,
he's a
but
Logia. But
not
like
one on one. But
I
I
know
see
not
the.
one to
I,
one, but I'm talking about like his applications of it. It's more like Katakuri than it is like Ace, is what I mean.
I
Like
see it.
like how he uses it to augment himself instead of fight like he's made out of it. Like Ace fights like he's made out of fire, right? And
Yeah,
Sabo fights like he has fire powers. Like if that make I don't know if that really makes sense, but just like how they're drawn, how they fight, or and how they're animated. It's like, or a better way to say it is Sabo fights similar to Shinra. From if you've seen Fire Force, like he reminds me of Shinra's fighting style. I wouldn't be surprised if Shinra's fighting style is based off of Sabo's. Like he uses when he jumps up in the air to use the fire fist, he like rocket propels his feet up in the air with the flame fruit. Like he catches Rebecca when she falls, and then when you see him jump, he like has a quick second of where he uses fire to launch himself in the air again, and then he does the fire stuff like that. It just I just like how they have the same power set, but they use it completely differently. So it's cool. But it could also just be Sabo in the story has only had his power for like a month or two, and Ace has had his for years. Also, you know,
that's true as well.
because
He ain't had
Ace,
time to fully develop
yeah,
his. That's true.
because Ace had his before he joined Whitebeard, and he was on Whitebeard's crew for over a year. So that could also be why. And Sabo at this moment has only had it for a few minutes, but then later on in the story when we see him a couple times, like between Egghead and Dressrosa, it's only a couple of months. Yeah, like in Showtime. So there's a lot of different things, but I just like Oda just shows that how someone thinks about something like changes how their power works. And
Oh, of
I
course,
think
like
this
they're
is one of the earlier times anime did this. Like animes are doing that concept now a lot. Like JJK is a good example of how spoiler alert, but spoiler for JJK. Yuji has dismantled and cleave too, but his works where he can cut things in more complex shapes because that's how he like thinks about using it. And Sukuna can only do hard lines because that's how Sukuna imagines it. And I think this is the earliest example in because this came out in like what 16 or 15 the episodes that we're on now. It's the first time I can think of something that it's like that. Like two people have the exact same power, but they use it differently because they conceptualize the power in different ways. But now every anime is doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like another thing that Oda kind of, it feels like Oda kind of started, which is cool. And then we go right from that big punch, the big fire fist, to Haruden picking Usopp up in the air right in front of the hole, and Usopp becomes God Usopp. That moment, yeah, it like perfectly times it, picking him up with the wall breaking behind him, so it makes him look angelic. And I love that it doesn't. It's really hard to tell what he's saying in the dub, right?
for the
But if
most
you
part. Yeah,
if you have the Japanese version on,
they subtitle it all.
that is a good point. Anime Penguin. He said, I would say that although Ace had years, Sabo is a lot more skilled when using it, just because Sabo is the better fighter. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, because when you think about it, someone who trained their whole time fighting in combat without using the devil fruit, who already knows, because Sabo he ain't no pushover. He gets in, he knows how to control the crowd. We know he knows how to, when he gets into tough pressure situations, he knows how to move around multiple enemies, control an environment, stuff like that. So him getting that devil fruit ain't do nothing but put it on top of him. And it ain't got nothing to do with him knowing the devil fruit itself. It got all the things to do with him just knowing combat and how to fight first. He'll learn the devil fruit later.
Yeah,
And
because like we
and
said
that
earlier,
makes now it makes his peak. When you think about Sabo's peak coming forward in the story, it's gonna be even greater. We'll just talk about the stuff he can do. Like one thing that I can think of, if you remember in Ace's fight versus Blackbeard when he made the big supernova type thing, I can imagine Sabo doing that on both of his fists
yeah. Can you
instead.
imagine him punching somebody with that, like Dragon Claw, and the Dragon Claw is totally on fire, and he just
Bro,
smacks the shit out of somebody, dude?
hard,
Just whole ass, just. But yeah, it's
hard.
like Sabo's an actual martial artist now that he's grown up, but Ace was just like a hard boiled brawler. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, that is a really good point that he brought up. But with the Hairdoon holding up Usopp, I love how. Do you know what he actually says? Like what
What
he's actually trying to tell the people that just got
that,
unturned
he,
into toys?
that he's hurt and put him down?
So the manga translation of what he says is, "Let me down, leave me alone.
Yeah,
Do you think I want to be held up here salivating like a moron while blood pours from my veins? What is this,
yeah.
an execution?" And all they hear is, "Let me lead you to salvation." Is what all they hear. And they're just like, "Oh my god, he's our savior. He's like an angel. He's all this stuff." But that moment just cracks me up. That he's really like, because it doesn't, at least on Crunchyroll, it doesn't translate what he actually says. It just tells you what they hear him say. So you have to either watch it in Japanese or watch it on a different platform to see what it actually says, which was really annoying, Crunchyroll, because I was just like, what the hell did he say again? Because like originally I read this part when I first went through it, so I was just like, I remember him saying like this long drawn out thing. I don't remember him saying, "Let me lead you into salvation." So I had to look up the manga again to remember what he said. But one thing that this moment really shows off is how desperate the people that live in the One Piece universe are to have a
Yeah.
fucking god.
Nah, yeah, nah, that's a good point too.
Like they are
That's
so desperate to have a savior figure or a
because
god
he
because of how
when
fucked up their world is.
and it's crazy to say that because it's one thing to think about the scholars and how gullible they are. So it's understandable why they are where they are in their minds at that moment. But for everyone else to pick it up, you know, and do the same thing, just I see what you're saying. Like they're starved for like a leader or a savior.
Yeah, like they are desperate to have something greater than themselves to look up to. Everyone that's not like the Straw Hats or the Heart Pirates, like Law on them, or like everyone that's not a supernova or higher on the list, like a normal everyday people, they are absolutely fucking desperate for a savior or just like a guiding principle is probably the best way to say it. Like they are so absolutely desperate to have something greater than themselves to look towards that they'll take the guy that just knocked out a literal kid and say, "Oh my god, this dude is our god, our savior." But then they are it's not just that, they are so desperate for that need for that guiding principle that they will immediately throw away all their principles 2 episodes later because he's worth 500 million berries. Like that's
Boy, that's
like
crazy.
they'll immediately betray one god for another because like that just like they'll betray the god Usopp, like air quotes god Usopp, for their god of money. Like they'll just immediately, and it happened to all the low level guys that don't have something that they want out of life, but all the high level guys that actually have a reason for existing, all the ones that aren't nihilists, that aren't nihilistic, we're just like, why the fuck would you go after Usopp, you piece of shits? That's it. We're fighting. If you remember, like when we get on later, that all the
Because yeah,
ones that are, yeah, all the ones that actually have a reason to live for, they don't have to, they don't
who
need the
still
money.
have who still have like a reason to fight and everything, who still have like, saying still basically people who were still saying F Doflamingo was still like going at it,
Yeah,
basically.
and it's just,
And like it's just, it was the switch was horrendous, just like you said, because like these people was just worshiping him as a god, just telling them how, you know, grateful they were that he saved them and all that. As soon as he put a freaking what 500 million tag on his head, it's like, oh, he right here, he hurt. Oh, we can take him now. The fuck on. Like, bro, nah, that's crazy. So it's like not only are they deprived for a savior, but those same ideals that they just once just said were so important to them get like challenge and opportunity to rise. Now it's like, okay, forget all those ideals and stuff we just said. Forget all those declares we just made.
yeah, it's just, they immediately betray one god for another. And that's just, like I've been saying, that's what a nihilist does. You, he just, they just immediately forget all their principles as soon as a new thing that can give them meaning pops up. You're just like, I'll never have to eat again. Like one of the guy's excuses is that I'll never have to buy food again. Like why he's willing to go after him. Um, it's just like one of the random guys with no name. That's why he wants to kill Usopp. It's just like, why the fuck would you, like, you really not care that much about yourself that that's what you're gonna do? Seriously, my guy? Like, these people just saved you from arguably the worst fate in the One Piece world. Because you're totally conscious and you can't sleep while you're a toy. So you're just basically stuck in a prison. And some of these people were stuck in this prison for a decade. And then as
The
soon as
whole
they were just like,
decade
I
for
can
some
make
reason.
$500 million and not die, I'm gonna do that. Or all you had to do was help him kill Doflamingo and you also don't die. But they were just like, the 500 million matters more, sort of thing. And it's
Like
just like,
Doflamingo's really gonna keep his word when he like they really was lost for real. Like they really expected Doflamingo to keep his word of all people.
yeah, like why the hell would he keep his word? Like we're gonna learn in a couple episodes, or like we're gonna talk about it in this episode of our thing, but a couple episodes later of the One Piece show, like Dofi doesn't care about anybody except for the executives in his family.
For the
Like
most part.
he just wants to burn the world down. That's his entire thing. Like he's like full blown like, I want the world to burn because it deserves it for what it did to me. Which is kind of funny because he's just like, they didn't let me live the life of luxury with infinite slaves, sort of thing. Is what he's mad about, which is weird that that's what he's like mad about. His brother was much better adjusted, but his brother also had a mentor, and that was like the big problem with him, is that he doesn't really get a mentor. Well, he does. It's Trouble, and Trouble's a piece of shit. So we understand why he turned out bad. But it's just one of those things that we see with Dofi. He's just a nihilistic asshole. And his nihilism has taken him to the point where he believes he has the right to steal the world from everyone else just because he doesn't like it. Just because he feels like he was stolen from. So he steals the past and the life of the people of Dressrosa just because it gives him a little bit of what he believes is his birthright. Like, they give you a lot of reasons to hate Doofy.
A lot. I get
Like,
a whole video for real.
yeah, it could probably
But
be.
they took go.
But I do like the whole setup with the clone. How the clone is, because the setup is that it's almost like a spider, like with his web, and it works thematically because his power is his strings. So it's like he just puts something there for them to go after, and they immediately bite on it. You know what I mean? And then we get the whole, looks like we got to use the bird cage. And the bird cage is, it's not his ultimate attack, but it might as well be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of those things like you have to kill him to stop it.
Yeah. Well, there's probably people that can break through it. Like, something tells me like Shanks, Kaido, Big Mom, Blackbeard technically, just because the Yami Yami no Mi's OP. What else? There's probably a few more. Luffy that beat Kaido could probably break it.
Gear 5.
Yeah, Gear 5. Dragon could probably break it. I'd imagine Garp can break it. I'd imagine Akainu.
Garp can't break it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way Garp can't break it after that episode with Galaxy Impact. And modern Kobe might be able to break it too. Honestly. Who else? There's no way Akainu can't break it. If Akainu can break it, Aokiji can probably break it. Who else?
Mihawk maybe.
Huh?
Mihawk maybe.
Oh, I'd bet money Mihawk and Kuma can break it.
You say you bet money on it.
Yeah, they're the two strongest warlords. Like, it's confirmed that they're the two strongest. Like, Egghead confirmed that Kuma is at least the second strongest. So, and he's even stronger than he was before that happened, because of all the modifications made him stronger. Sengoku could probably break it. Well, young Sengoku. Modern Sengoku might not be able to.
You don't think modern Sengoku? Oh, yeah, he too. Like,
he might not be able to. He might be able to, but he also might not. Prime, who's the dude that has the gorilla devil fruit? Or it's not the gorilla, it's like the Wukong devil fruit or whatever. He's like Garp's age. I think he's a movie character.
No, you gotta be talking about a movie character. I haven't seen
Yeah, he'd be able to break it. Borsellino can probably break it.
I don't think he'd need to. He can get out of it.
Yeah, he can get. Most Logia users would probably be able to get out, unless the strands are imbued with hockey. But then, like, a lot of the Logia users could also just become small enough to slip through the gaps. There's a lot of people. Well, there's not a lot of people, but there's the entirety of Shank's crew can probably break it. You know, like,
I mean, you gotta think about the people who also could inevitably beat him. So,
yeah,
like, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Jack, Queen, and King probably break it. So there's not that many people that could break it in the grand scheme of things. So it is like, I guess it is like, probably best to call it the ultimate move.
Characters in One Piece, yeah.
Yeah. Like, just like name characters that something tells me Fujitori could break it. Like I feel
He
like
did too.
Fujitori.
He dropping me. Well, I don't know. I ain't gonna say I don't know. I mean, because he was here.
Like,
He was here.
yeah,
He
he
was
was here,
present.
but also he specifically didn't stop it because he's not allowed to. And remember, the other reason that he doesn't stop it is because he gambles on Luffy being able to stop it. And
Yeah.
his whole thing,
Yeah.
if the whole reason that he bets on Luffy is because in last week's episode, we got the quote of him saying, like, my entire reason for being an admiral is to demolish the warlords. Like, that's the whole reason, like, he's doing everything is he wants to demolish the warlord title. That's why he lets Luffy do it. Is because if Luffy beats him, then they're almost forced to do it because then Luffy's beaten 3 warlords. And
Yeah.
it shows that the warlords aren't good enough anymore. And that's like the whole reason that he's fine with it happening. So it's very, there's a lot of different ways it could go. Is the easiest way to say it. There's a lot of ways it could go. Like a lot. But the birdcage goes up, and I think it's nice that Oda uses the birdcage as the super scary ultimate attack, cause before D'Angelo absolutely destroyed the metaphor and made it about something else. Metaphors used to be, or not metaphors, but the birdcage used to be a metaphor for trapping people in different confines, like social constraints and stuff like that for the most part. Like, if you've ever played Bioshock Infinite, like you've seen the metaphor in use before. But here it's basically he traps an entire city state. Because Dressrosa is not really the size of a normal nation, you know what I mean? It's more like a city state. Like it's big, don't get me wrong, but it's not like Wano's a lot bigger. You know what I mean?
Well, they call Wano a country.
Yeah. But well, they call Dressrosa a country too in certain parts. But it's not absolutely fucking massive like some of the places are. Like Alabasta's a lot bigger than
Alabasta has 4 parts.
yeah.
Or
But I
like
just
a whole river going down the middle of it too.
but I just like there's been
Like
places
one
that are
part.
way
Yeah.
bigger that we've seen.
Of course, of course.
So this like
Like
it
I
just
wouldn't think
reminds me of the size of like
Dressrosa is smaller than Wano, smaller than Alabasta, but I think it's like bigger than what?
it's probably bigger than Egghead.
Yeah, probably bigger than Egghead. I would think Water's bigger than Water 7.
Bigger than the
Uh,
Water 7 we saw. Because remember,
yeah,
Iceberg's in the process of making it bigger.
yeah.
Uh,
Water 7 is the current story. Yeah,
is bigger than an East Lobby, but that's not really hard. And East Lobby's probably like the smallest place that we've seen so far. Unless you want to count Long Island, but Long, like if you count the entire circumference on it, is big as fuck. What else? It took them a lot longer to get around in Drum Island, so Drum Island might be slightly bigger. But also, a big part of that could be snow.
yeah, that's true.
The
That's right.
Sabaody Archipelago is bigger than Dressrosa, probably. But it's also got like a lot of water in between it, so there's more ground to cover. But it just reminds me of like the Greek city-states in size. Like, not like the massive island that I'm used to thinking about. Like that Alabasta had me conditioned to think about. But it still doesn't make the birdcage less impressive or imposing. You could argue it actually makes it more imposing because it completely destroys this play. Like, has the ability to completely destroy, like, wipe Dressrosa off the map permanently. But also, there's one thing I just realized. Wouldn't it immediately fucking stop next to the factory?
I'm
The factory's made out of sea prism stone, right? Like that's why Luffy can't destroy it.
Uh,
So is that part of his plan? Is to just like leave the because it would just stop on the secret and then everyone else would move. So everyone just needs to go sit inside the Smile Factory and they're safe. Which is kind of funny. I just realized that. I don't think it's a plot hole though because no one's going to think of that shit. Because Dofi's like the only one that knows that it's made out of sea prism stone. And he doesn't tell Straw Hats and gang. But yeah. That's neither here nor there. I will say Fujitora is quickly becoming my second favorite character on this rewatch, though.
uh,
Like, like right now it's Shanks, but it might end up being Fujitora by the end of this.
Sabo.
I said second favorite. Sabo's my first favorite, but I'm saying like Fujitora and Shanks are fighting over second place.
Second now.
Yeah, Shanks is
Okay.
a second now, and Fujitora is third. But Fujitora is fighting hard for that second because this
That
line
makes
is so fucking good. It's
He has a lot of lines in this.
yeah, like the only eye I can turn is blind when he's talking about when he's telling Doflamingo that when all this is over he's gonna beat the shit out of him. I fucking love that. But it's when he's talking to Maynard and Maynard's just like, I've seen some shit. We have to take Doflamingo in right now. We can't let him keep going. That you know what I'm talking about? When he's just like, where have you been, Maynard? You have a lot of explaining to do. And so Fujitoro says, we can't make that call. We've been doing it like that too long. The same old song and dance every time. You've been in the Navy for quite a while, if I recall, Vice Admiral. Don't tell me you never once opened your eyes this whole time. You hear those screams? That's not fear. It's rage. No, those aren't the cries of terrified folks. They are furious. That's why the world government has no business playing God. My decision stands. This matter is not up for discussion. Like,
Yeah.
all his subordinates are just like, we gotta take him in now. He's just like, no, y'all bitch asses. We had the opportunity to stop this a long time ago. They told us no, so you're just helping civilians. Get your ass over there and save civilians. And that just, yeah, that just makes me like him a lot. Because he's like the only one that thinks that way. It's like I said, he feels like the cop that's trying to fix it from the inside. You know what I'm talking about? Like in old cop movies. Like the hardline guy that has an absolute moral compass that's trying to fix his corrupt division from, or not division, but precinct from the inside. That's what he reminds me of, and I really like it. Because I've always really liked that trope. Because,
Yeah, that's pretty much his role here.
yeah, it's also good writing too. So, and like his fight with Sabo is dope because he's just like he's going easy on Sabo because he doesn't want to beat Sabo because he thinks Sabo's morally correct. He was like, Sabo, you're in the right here, but I can't say that in front of my men. Like he even says that he's happy that someone so powerful is in the revolutionary armor because it gives him hope for tomorrow. Like that's fucking hard. Like,
Yeah.
how can you not
No,
like the dude?
like Fujitora, man. Like we talk about the stuff. If you want to address Rosa at the end of it, once we get to it, and talk about Fujitora going forward, like he really like lived up to everything he ever said he was gonna do. Like when you talk about like everything, like you talk about like him saying he's gonna dismantle the warlords versus like when we get to the reverie and the whole thing when the revs get on that and that whole thing like yeah, he lived up to his character a lot. He's really well designed. I mean,
Also, like how he's like the opposite of Green Bull, like we'll see in the Reverie. Like Green Bull's like the upstart that wants to make a name for himself, but Fujitoro's like the level-headed guy that will never abandon his morals. But we'll see that a lot when we get to the Reverie and Wano. But right after that line, we get the star system. And these same, like we were talking about earlier, the same people that were turned out of toys and were literal fucking slaves to Doflamingo. Immediately you're just like, what? We can make that much money? And then they immediately turn on the person that saved him when they found out that he's worth 500 million belly or berry. Like, what the fuck is wrong with the people in the One Piece world? Well, we know what's wrong. Also love that Sabo's just like, why do I get stars? So it's like, what? Because, like, the whole thing is Sabo thinks that he's being sneaky, but he's really not. And that cracks me up. And then, we get some stuff with Bartolomeo losing his absolute fucking mind that he gets to hang out with Robin. I even like in the anime that when he first meets Robin, he has the Freudian slip and says, "Can I be your slave? I mean, it's so nice to meet you." that always cracks me up. We get right here, we don't really get a bunch of stuff leading up to it for the metaphor, except for Law and Luffy's talk, where it's just like, we can't, this wasn't the plan, Luffy. What the fuck's wrong with you? We were just supposed to destroy the Smile Factory and leave. And then Luffy's just like, you think we can think about that stuff later. Take a good look at this country. You think we can just stop now? Like, he's going to kill everybody if we don't help him.
That's one of the moments I was going to mention, because you talking about how Luffy's determination to, like, once he's in there and he's come this far, he's almost there to finish the job that, pretty much was bestowed upon him. It was like, yeah, we was only supposed to take the Smile Factory out and leave. It's like, nah, bro. Like, all the stuff we can find out at this point, all the way he did this country, he didn't torture these people this much. Nah, I can finish this. I gotta do more than destroy the Smile Factory. I gotta destroy the whole infrastructure. And this is where it was almost like Luffy taking on, like, doing more than what's necessary of him. Like the Ubermensch would technically do. Like, always doing the most, doing the extra, going the extra mile, going the extra above and beyond over something like this, because like it need to be done. Like, you look at everything Doflamingo did at this point in time, say it didn't need to be done. Crazy. Nah, it need to be done. So
yeah, and it's all, and then you see when, like, we get them all met up for the first time, the Don Quixote family, like the executives and everything. Like, they don't really seem to care. Like, they're just cracking jokes and shit, because, like, everyone's gonna die anyway. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, Diamante's just like, I screwed up. Sabo got the flame fruit. Tribble's like, I screwed up. Sugar fell asleep. And Dofi is just like, what's done is done. Handing out blame won't turn it back. And then they're just like, oh my god, I can't believe you forgave me. You're so awesome. And then we get to hear Pika's voice. And if you haven't heard it before and you just read it, it sounds worse than the manga could have ever prepared you for.
that's true though. Now that I think about it,
because like the manga, they're just like, it's super shrill, don't laugh at him. But then the English voice actor, it sounds like Guilford Godfrey with a mouthful of helium.
Yeah.
That's exactly. He sounds like fucking Gilbert Godfrey ODing on helium, dude. Like, it's so fucking funny. But it also gives me a headache. I'm just like, these motherfuckers need to shut up. Need to tell him to shut up because this is giving me a headache. Yeah. Sorry, the yawn. I hate when you have a yawn and it hurts your chin. Like, because you're, like, you open your mouth so wide.
Man, don't believe it.
And then we get Frankie trying to break into the thing. And then, so, what's it called? The dude that uses Javice, or however you say his name, right?
Archives.
Yeah. What? Does he have a devil fruit?
The ton dude?
Huh? Yeah, the
That's
Tuntun dude.
Yeah.
So, there's two fruits that have almost the exact same power.
Which ones?
Okay, remember the chick from Alabasta that could
Yeah. Oh no, it's not the exact same.
okay.
She can't get as heavy as he can. That's the thing.
Oh, that's the
She
only
can
difference is
get way
like
heavy. He can get way heavy.
that's it. It's just like oh here it's like the meme from Suicide Squad. It's like he's just like me, but he walked forward and it's just like, but I'm cooler. That's just what that makes me think of. Oh yeah, another thing talking about how I like went into that mini tirade about Baby or Senor Pink earlier. Like when Luffy's like running with while carrying Law, he immediately just sneaks up on Luffy.
Yeah.
Like you little fucker.
Yeah. That's true.
He gets what he deserved though. The 10-ton dude landed on his ass.
Tongue.
And then Derringer fucking kicks him while he's heavy. Which just cracks me up. Fujitoro says like another hard ass thing. When he meets him, it's like just because you shoot, he who shoots many still eventually hits or something like that. But he's like, it won't do you any good here. It's just like, dude, stop saying cool shit, dog. At least that's how I was. I was just like, I need you to stop saying cool shit, dog. And then we get the big Pika monster part. And then Luffy just fucking dies laughing at him. I can't blame him, though. I'd do the same thing in Luffy's position. Even if I didn't have powers, I'd be laughing my ass off if I heard Pika talk in real life.
What, bro? Like, how could you not?
Like, I would
Like,
be...
they keep Pico around for a reason to kill people.
Like I would be
Like,
every time
imagine,
he
like,
says
saying,
something.
don't say nothing. It's like, you better not laugh at Pika's voice. If you laugh, I'll kill you. And then Pika just say, yeah, you better not. And you hear that, and then it's like, all you do is laugh. It's like, yeah, y'all keep him around just an excuse for y'all to kill people at this point. Like, there's no way. There's no way in hell y'all don't.
Like, that shit just cracks me up. And then we got Cavendish being a weirdo with Law's hat. That was super weird. He has split personalities, though, so that makes him even weirder. We get Harudin talking about stuff, but there's not really a lot like to talk about from a metaphor perspective. It's just a lot of like what's happening in the story at this point. But I do like how you see, like I was saying earlier, like the ones that actually have a reason don't care about the money. Like the ones with guiding principles don't care about the money. Like they're just like, oh, we owe you a life debt because Usopp works for you. And Usopp is our savior. So we owe you one. It gets to the point where like they're fighting over who gets to fight Dofi.
Pretty much, yeah. I get it.
So it's just, I like it. Oh yeah, we get Moosey back. I like Moosey. I wonder what Moosey's actual name is.
Moosey?
Yeah, is that his actual name, or did Luffy just named him that?
Yeah, Luffy just gave him that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I wasn't
Who
sure.
you talking about again?
The fucking
You talking
bull,
about,
the black
no,
bull
it's not.
that.
Yeah, nah, I think he just gave him that name.
Yeah,
But
because
I
it
don't know.
rhymes with
I don't
Lucy.
think he had a name.
Yeah, I don't remember him having a name. I just remember him call, but he could have an actual name, and I just don't remember it. But I don't know. You never know. But fucking, we get to see everyone that fought in the competition earlier, or the named people from the competition earlier, because there's a bunch of unnamed losers. That's right, we're gonna call them losers, because they turned on Usopp, so they're losers. And you just see they beat the absolute shit out of all the people that turned on Usopp. Like the absolute shit. Like they beat the crap, and then we get the Grizzly Magnum to break Pika apart, which looked pretty cool. And then Zoro fights Pika, and Pika has a sword that is overcompensating for both his penis size and his voice. Because his sword is fucking huge for no reason.
You know how big his size is, man.
Like, like, Pika's a big dude, so he needs a big sword, but he doesn't need Sephiroth's sword. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that shit reminds me of. It just reminds me of a thicker Sephiroth sword. But I do like his fight with Zoro, because Zoro beats the fuck out that man. Like, it's not even close. Like, it's not even, like... It makes you wonder, like, how many of the executives could Zoro have folded like yesterday's laundry? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because Pika's supposed to be one of, if not the strongest of the three, right? Like, that's how they describe him. Like, he's supposed to be at least stronger than Diamante. At least. And probably stronger than Treble. I would imagine that he's stronger than Treble. But Zoro just, like, doesn't even take a scratch in the fight. Zoro just beats the fuck out that man. Just straight up. Just, like, just clapping them cheeks. Like, he absolutely destroys that man. And then we get the story stuff of Rebecca re-meeting her grandfather for the first time in forever. We get the bomb-ass thing from Violet where King Riku's just like, why do they matter so much? They're pirates. And Violet's like, they are outlaws and pirates who have come to destroy the false piece of the country that has suffered for so long, and I have placed my hope in them. It's just like, they're better than them. They're better than the Navy, because unlike the Navy, the Straw Hat Pirates still remember their humanity. And it's just like, oh, yep, can't argue with that. I can't argue with that, daughter. That's a good point. The Navy didn't help, but he did, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which cracks me up. It's just like, well, Violet, you got a fucking point. And then there's the moment where Senor Pink sneaks up on Frankie. Fuck Senor Pink again. I'm sorry. And it's not because he dresses up like a baby. That makes sense. That makes sense, people that weren't here earlier when I went on the tirade. It's because he's a hypocrite and he exclusively attacks people from behind. That's why I say fuck him. And then we get Luffy and Co riding Musi. And then we get into Fujitora versus Sabo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how, like, you see, like, it shows off a good bit of how different Sabo fights from Ace even more. Because he uses his the pipe that he's had since, like, he was a kid. Because if you remember, that was all their original fighting styles.
Yeah.
Was using a pipe.
Yeah.
To give them range when they were kids. Excuse me. And then you combine that with the fact that, like, Sabo's grip strength is insane. Like, he breaks the shark cleaver in half with his fucking fingertips. He squeezes an entire fucking cannon bazooka and just crumples it into crumples like the center of it into absolute dust. So like when it comes to like this technique, like his fingers are probably stronger than Luffy's. Like the rest of his body might not be, but his fingers 100% have to be stronger than Luffy's. You know what I mean? Because Luffy doesn't even do that without using haki. He's not able to crush steel like crumble it like paper. You know?
Yeah.
He just immediately just like clunk. But what's it called? I like how he's just like Fujitori's just like, so Ace called Luffy his brother. You talk about Luffy like you like him a lot. Are you also Luffy's brother by bond? And Sabo's just like, is it really that obvious? Yep. And I'll go wherever my little brother needs me. Okay. And we get more of we see what actually happened to him. Where he had no recollection, like he couldn't remember any of his childhood until he read the story of Ace's death, and then his amnesia got fixed because all the memories rushed back at once. And you can see it like breaks him, like it actually breaks him for a little bit. Like it like mentally fucks him up. And another cool thing with the that I really like, that you don't really notice it the first time. Like the first time I went through it, Dressrosa, I didn't notice it. But you know when he has the sword clash with Fujitora? The fire that he... the sword in the pipe. The fireball that he creates on his back looks like sort of like the flare fruit. Just because like he just talks about he's carrying on his Ace's will and everything, and they just give you the little bit of extra oomph to show like he's the one that Ace would have passed on the power to if he could choose anybody. Like Sabo's the person Ace would have wanted to have it the most, since Luffy couldn't have one.
Because he already had one, yep.
Yeah. And then we get the Kelly brothers betraying Luffy. And we get the whole Doflamingo clone part 2, Electric Boogaloo. And then we get the he basically kills Musi. We don't know if Musi's dead or not, because he stabs Musi with the string and then tries to drown it, because Luffy can't really do anything while he's stuck there, because he's stuck up under Musi on water. We find out Kelly Punk's a fucking bitch.
Big bitch.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, actually, which one's the big brother? Which one's the little brother?
I think Kelly's the...
Because the younger brother's the huge one, and then but they both bitches. Let's just put it that way.
Kelly's the small one. I think Bob is the big one.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they all suck ass. And then you also have a devil fruit that sucks ass too, and they deserve it. Luffy uses a fucking elephant gun that punches all the way through the floor. Hell yeah, brother. Like, it just works.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, like, if Luffy cussed, that's what he would have said when he punched through it. But, we get to see the fucking airport scene again. What do they call it? The Tantada Airlines Yellow Kabu. It's just what is it, 6 beetles tied together. Yeah. And it's just like a glide from a video game. Like if you've ever played Genshin, it's like when you double jump glide. That's the best way to explain it. And then I still can't get over the fucking... It's like, this is a flying. And then when they start getting shot at, and Bartholomew's just like, I can't make a barrier, but you know what I can do? And he threatens to just pee on all of them. He's just like, y'all saw me do it in the tournament. You know I'll do it. You know I'll fucking pee on all you. Just like, what the fuck, dog? At least he's a man of his word. He'll fuck that shit up. Then we get the Bellamy's just like, what the fuck? Like, why won't you let me join your club? I've always ever wanted to join your club. Can I please join your club? And Dofi's just like, let me be honest with you. You want to be a pirate because you want to be a pirate. You and I have different objectives. All I want to do is destroy the world. And they're just like, oh shit. Dofi's out of his fucking mind. You know, like that's, you just see it like right there. Like you see Doflamingo is just full blown nihilist. All he wants is, he thinks that the world has wronged him so much and that he deserves to destroy it because that is his birthright. Which is...
That's literally parallels, man, opposite of Luffy, what he wanted to. Luffy would absolutely destroy somebody like that. No world don't belong to nobody.
And then we see the Tontadas let the Tontadas inside the factory know that they're being lied to and they have to open it up. Moncherry's not there. They've been fucked with. Cavendish shows up on the horse. They ride the horse. Kairos jumps on the horse. And I like how Kairos is just like, I'm going to find Diamante. And I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him slow. For killing my wife. That fucking bastard. Yeah, I don't like Diamante either, so I don't blame him. But I hate that we didn't get to finish the Diamante fight this week. We get to start it though. Diamante's fruit is interesting. Like I can't tell if it's OP or not because we don't know the exact rules of it yet. Like is it anything that's technically a 2D plane he can control completely? Or is it, like, what is the exact, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of the right word. But what is the exact power of it? Because it's not fully described. Ah, man, that yawn. I apologize. Oh, yeah, we get to meet, Kanjuru, or however you say his name.
Kanjuru.
Yeah, and he's dressed in a very interesting way, we'll say it that way. And his devil fruit lets him bring to life whatever he draws. Yeah. And so he draws a sparrow that wants you to put it out of its fucking misery. Which, it's hilarious because all the soldiers are just like, I think you should kill the sparrow. I don't think you can do it. Because the sparrow just wants to die. Because they say like, I don't think that sparrow can live. He looks like he wants you to put him out of his misery. And then we skip back to the all the people that were named fighting people. We see the zombie doll things pop up, which is our cue to know that what's it called? Sugar's woken up. Cause like the people in the story don't know it, but we know that that's probably Sugar's power. Cause like Luffy and Law don't know who Sugar is or anything like that yet. We get some more Zoro, like absolutely fucking destroying Pika. Like he hits him with the 1080 pound or 1080 caliber Phoenix, and it cuts his massive body in like half. He's just like, oh, I just figured out how your power works. You are screwed.
Yeah, when he had it figured out at that moment, like it was pretty much over with. And with his IQ with cutting shit up, it's
yeah, he might be an idiot, but he's a savant when it comes to killing people with the sword.
Yeah.
And then there's the Smile Factory lady that Frankie kisses to make her shut up. I like Senior Pink's just like, no, it has nothing to do with how he feels about you. It's just a manly man knows that the fastest way to make a lady that won't shut up shut up is to kiss her. And then Frankie's just like, I don't want to hear bullshit about love from a kind of immature brat who gets flustered by a little kiss. And Senor Pink's just like, damn right, flings with wide-eyed little girls make me sicker than a bad drink. And then fucking she starts acting like the people chasing Senor Pink, like the girls. And then he hits Senor Pink with the fucking nipple-late special. Hell yeah. That's how you know Frankie is a real man's man. He fights with his nipples. That shit still cracks me up that he fights with his nipples. Like, what the fuck, dog? Oh yeah, and then we learn Mon Cherie's hidden in the castle. But like, a lot of this stuff, like, we're at the point where we're not really running into any Luffy stuff. Like, there's really no Luffy stuff to talk about yet. Like, the whole metaphor or anything. Just because there's not a lot going on with Luffy. Like, for, like, a little bit. But, I do like how Usopp's just like, wait, Sugar's awake? Fuck, my secret fire breath technique, or what's it called? Certain kill, Jack in the Box, face attack. Like, how's she not dead? Or how she's not still asleep. And I love how, she's terrified of everyone with a long nose now. And they try to bring her sausages as a snack, and she's just like, it looks like long noses. Take it away from me. Give me grapes. Because she's like, fucking Sabo gave her or not Sabo. What did I say Sabo? Usopp gave her fucking PTSD. Like, Usopp gives her such bad PTSD that she can't even look at adults with long noses now. Like, she even attacks and turns somebody into a toy that has a long, like the person that brings her sausages, because he has a long nose. But like, that shit's hilarious to me. It's like, oh shit, shit is real. Then we get the start of Diamante versus Rebecca in the sunflower field, and it's actually a really good like fight for the story. Not like, because personally it's not like my favorite fight, even in the arc. Like, it's an okay fight, but the big thing is it's Kyros's redemption. Like, he couldn't save his wife in almost the same place, but he's gonna do everything in his power to make sure he saves his daughter. So just from a like themes perspective, it's a good fight. And also, like, you could throw whatever sunflower metaphor you want to say into it too, because they're fighting in the actual sunflower field. Like, because sunflowers symbolize strength, good fortune, admiration, loyalty, stuff like that, or warmth, positivity, and happiness. So it's fitting that they'll get their revenge in the place that they need the revenge from, because her mom was killed by the sunflower field. But
that is a good point.
Yeah, and then there's like every other thing you can think about a sunflower. Like, that's why she inherently trusts Luffy, because he's wearing a sunflower shirt. So it could be like, it's probably not hinting at the Nika fruit yet, but it could have been. We don't know. Oda could have planned it out like 9 years, or not 9 years, 6 years ahead. But it's like, she used to go to the sunflower field all the time when she was a kid. But it's also a good, like, not, what's the right word? It's good foreshadowing, because, like, everything's going to end with sunflowers. Like, the character arcs are going to end with the sunflowers. Well, not necessarily, because Kuro's arc doesn't end until they actually leave Dressrosa. Like, that's the actual end of Kuro's, when he, like, realizes how much he fucked up with, like, he realizes that he doesn't need the gloves anymore. Like, he's a good person. Like he can stop torturing himself over that. But like we see that Bartomelo's devil fruit is probably OP as shit. Because he can make the barriers whatever shape he wants. But he does have a finite amount of area he can make this shit. Like, he has a finite amount of barrier. Also love that he's just like, Luffy says, "Thanks, pal, you're the best." And Bartholomew breaks down crying and he's just like, "Luffy told me I'm the best."
Oh, yeah, every time he tells him anything.
Yeah, every single time. It just cracks me up. He is such a fanboy. I wonder if like the idea for him came from the idea of what's it called? Like how fans act around Oda, if that's like where it came from. Or did he just like there's probably just like one crazy ass fan and that's what he did it all off of. Which I wouldn't be surprised, because there are some crazy people. Oh yeah, I love it. Cuts back to Sabo and Fujitoro's fight, and he's just like, "Why don't you show a little sympathy? I am an old man." Sabo's just like, "I don't do discrimination. I give equal rights and equal lefts." I just love that. He's like, "Nah, bro, you're strong. You can take it." Like, what the fuck? What the fuck, dude? Why you want me to go easy on you? You're an admiral. I ain't going easy on you. And he's just like, it looks like you're not number 2 of the army for nothing. And he's just like, but I have my position. Hope you can understand. And he's just like, dude, stop playing around. You're much stronger than you're letting on. He's just like, you're right. Horizontal gravity. He's just like, oh shit. And it just cracks me up. And then what's it called? Fujitoro's just like, for good or bad, I'm prepared to put my own head on the line. If I lose my dice before I roll them, and it's all over before the game's begun. And it's just, I just like Fujitoro just says cool shit, dude. I guess when you lose your eyes, it gives you the ability to say cool shit. At least in the One Piece universe. And then we see Rebecca scared shitless of Diamante. And Diamante's just like, no.
So this dude that killed her mom.
And it's just like, I'm the one that killed your mom. And then he's just like, oh yeah, I killed her with a gun, not my sword. Give me a second. And pulls out a fucking gun. And she's like, my guy, what the fuck's wrong with you? And then Kero shows up and it's just like, fuck you, dude. Slices him in his stomach. And then she gets the flashback of a soldier carrying her dead mom back to her. It's just like, oh no. They get the key from Rebecca, and then Kairos is just like, I'm gonna beat this man to death. Like, he doesn't understand. Like, he's about to get nubbed to the nuts. Like, Kairos does beat the fuck out this man. Like, Diamante has to pull out, like, a bunch of bullshit just to get his ass beat. And it's hilarious. And then, what's his name just uses shambles to get out. And then they're inside the palace. And then, what's it called? We saw that, earlier when he shot him, when Doflamingo shot him, he shot him with sea prison bullets. I think, or something, I can't remember what it was. He shot him with something special. He didn't shoot him with regular, but I don't think it was sea prison. I can't remember what it is. But he shoots him. It
wasn't a Nets, was it? No,
I don't remember. But they shot him with because he's just like, he had to use these fucking bullets, didn't he? It's like lead in something else. And then we get the whole Usopp's just like, why the hell you draw a bridge to the people that want to kill me, you asshole? And then he's just like, wait, we gotta shoot. I gotta shoot this thing at her to kill her, or I have to hit Sugar, or Luffy's gone forever, cause Luffy and Law meet Sugar, and they don't know who Sugar looks like or the powers. And Usopp's just like, if I miss the shot, we lose everything because I'll forget who Luffy is and I'll forget the whole reason I'm a pirate and everything. And then somehow he activates, which is something, it's probably observation hockey, and it lets him see them clearly from, they're pretty fucking far away. They're probably close to a mile away. And it lets him see them with absolute perfection. Like he can see them perfectly, like everything that he needs to hit on them. Like he can even see the window, and then he can see the outlines of them and everything.
Yep.
And it's an observation. If it is observation hockey, it's one that we haven't seen before. Because if you remember, Zoro uses his observation hockey's different. He like senses the vibration of stuff. You know, like how do you describe it? The first ever time that he started using it, it's like he feels the vibrations of everything. It's like he feels the vibrations of the aura of everything, like everything around him or something like that, wasn't it? And you see, like he still does something similar to it. Like it's much more refined, but Usopp straight whole ass from like a mile away, like gets telescopic vision and can see them perfectly from where he is. And then he shoots. You see that he was able to account for every little thing with his bomb. Like it's got 2 boosters, and he was able to account for tailwind and everything, and the direction of the wind and every little thing. And you see that the bullet that he shoots at her is just a copy of his face when it scared her. And he's just like, haha, that was my plan the whole time. It's just to reignite her PTSD that I gave her.
Literally.
I love that. He's just like, I'm not trying to kill her. I'm just trying to make her go insane. Just trying to re-scare her. It's all good. That shit cracks me up. And then the last 2 episodes are just setting up the big fight. Like the brain controlling Bellamy thing. Or the parasite. String parasiting Bellamy. Before he actually. And we see like Bellamy's completely like mentally broken. Like Bellamy's just like, please kill me now. The man that I've wanted to help my entire life and looked up to my entire childhood just told me that I'm not worth it and everything. And then we get Law versus Treble, and we see Law was like almost instantly beat Treble, but Dofi had to save him. And we just get the stuff leading up to the fight, getting ready for the actual fight that's about to start next week. It's gonna go hard and heavy. What's called Luffy lands a big ass red hawk on Dofi, and it actually hurts him. And I love how like Law's just like, Straw Hat, you really are the worst. And then Luffy just like, but we're both in that generation. Like we're both the worst.
He ain't trying to like exclude himself from it. He just pretty much put him right there. When he says the worst, let's say everybody been calling him the worst, they've been referring to the worst generation.
Yeah, I just like how it's like the first time he's just like, no you. So that's literally what he does. He just no use him. And then the start of the next episode, we get where Fujitora is just like talking to Sabo, and he's just like, we're no different from each other in this country. The Marines can't be heroes, so I need you to make it look like you won this fight. That way you can say that the Revolutionary Army saved everybody. Like that's part of Fujitora's gamble. And after like that was the thing that I was just like, okay, yeah, Fujitora and Shanks, y'all are tied now. You know what I mean? Like for second favorite. Like it was that because I wasn't really paying that much attention to that sort of stuff when I was going through it the first time. But when he's just like, we're gonna make the Revolutionary Army look like the good guys because the Navy is the one that gave Doflamingo his power and the ability to do all this shit.
He accept the fact that like that he kind of in the side that helped usher this whole thing about.
You good?
You heard me?
Yeah, your mic just cut out.
I said one thing good about him, he never once like objected to the fact that he on the side that ushered like this whole thing about.
Yeah, like he fully understands that he's on the side that caused all this trouble. That's why he's been working so hard to fix it. And I like how he's just like, Dressrosa was once a symbol of peace. I'm not going to let it fall into war. He's just like you, King Rico, I'm going to bet everything on Straw Hat pulling it off. And you see that he's just playing dice while he says it.
Yep. Which is the same thing with the whole idea with his entire character. Even the whole idea with his entire character up to this point has been about gambling. So
yeah, which is funny because he can't see, but since he can control gravity, he can basically do it all. Like he can see but not see, sort of thing. Like we don't know the exact extent of it, but it makes sense that he'd be able to sense it, So he's just cool. He's just a cool character, and also like his nickname is the Purple Tiger. That's pretty cool. Though I don't like LSU though, so it's like, that's a joke that people will only get if they grew up in the South too, and if they didn't grow up in Louisiana. So, but I digress. Doflamingo is beating the absolute crap out of Straw Hat, like out of Luffy and Law, and he's just like, he just is messing with Luffy about Bellamy and Law, and we get like the opening of Dofi's backstory where he's just like, where are the slaves? Let's go buy some more. Why aren't they bowing down to me? Why are we being chased? All this stuff.
All that whole thing.
And we get all the whole like
all source pretty much of his whole thing.
She's like, I have the greatest birthright in the history of the planet. It was stolen from me because my dad's a fucking dick. Like, that's like his whole thing. His whole thing is the right to do whatever the fuck I want was stolen from me, so I'm going to destroy the world so that the people that won't give me back my birthright will pay for it since they love the world. And it's just like, Dofi, what the fuck? You suck so much. But he's a great written villain. It's just like, I'm not saying like he sucks as a villain. I'm saying like as a like as a person. Like, fuck Doflamingo. I don't like him. My friends don't like him. We don't fuck with him. Sort of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that he's not well written. He's well written. It's just he's a massive fucking asshole, and I hate him. Like, I'm ready for Gear 4 to beat the shit out of him already. And then after he gives like this whole speech, we learn like that Law was set up to be the Heart. That's why he's called the Heart Pirates. He's supposed to be Doflamingo's right-hand man because Doflamingo wanted him to be his right-hand man out of respect for his younger brother that he killed. And that's the only reason Law's still alive and has the OP no Mi is as a homage to his little brother. But you find out that Doflamingo's actually fucking lying. Because he really just wanted... He actually didn't really care about his brother outside of the fact that he wanted his brother to use the OP. So he was just waiting for Law to unlock the ability to do the Eternal Youth Surgery. And the reason he let Law have it is because Law was trained to be an expert fucking surgeon at the age of like 11. because his dad was like one of the best doctors in Dressrosa. And we like that's actually what it the whole and Doflamingo's just trying to frame it as like the one person Law cares about that's not Beppo. It's fucking it's your fault that he died, Law. Like that's all Dofi's trying to do is trying to gaslight Law into thinking he got his the only person he ever loved killed, or the first person he ever loved killed. Well, not the first, because he loved his parents, because his parents were good people. But you know what I mean.
First person ever really, like, first person to go above and beyond for him.
Yeah, like the first person to care about him that wasn't family. Probably the best way to say it. Because we see how he joined the Don Quixote family as a kid. Because Law has the white lead disease. And he's just like, I have 3 years and 2 months until I'm guaranteed to die. And he says, I want to kill as many people as I can within those 3 years. Like, that's his whole goal, is he just wants to burn the world down. Like, he just wants to destroy everything. So that's why he's joining their crew, because they're the strongest pirates in the place where he lives. And so Corazon, Don Quixote, Doflamingo's brother, takes him under his wing and tries to teach him how to be an actual legit good person, because he doesn't want this little kid to kill himself for his brother's sake, because it turns out Corazon does not like his brother. And that's pretty much where it ends, where the story ends these episodes.
It's going to go deeper into Law's backstory in next week. So to start it off, it's going to go deeper into that.
Yeah, we're going to get Law's backstory, and I think the Bellamy fight. Well, it's not really even a fight, because it lasts like for 2 seconds, and it's just Bellamy punching until Luffy's just like, stop being a pussy, smack. But yeah, that's I think that's it for this week. You got anything else that you want to add or anything that you could
just like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate y'all interacting with us and chilling out with us and listening to us. See the growth in the channel as always. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's about it, man.
Yes.
I know we won't see y'all again next week, so yeah, make sure y'all have a good Halloween. Y'all be safe, all that.
Yeah, and what's it called? If y'all dress up as anyone from One Piece, feel free to share it with the Facebook group or on the Facebook page. If anyone's a One Piece character, if there's some people that want to do that, we might be able to do like a little Halloween thing with that if there's enough people. But yeah, other than that, like Dragon said, y'all be safe. And like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it for this week. Y'all have a good one. This is Corrupted
and Dragon
signing off. Deuces, everybody.
Later.